morning, everybody. Kevin J. Johnston here. This is the Real Estate and Money Show, episode number 48. Today is January the 28th of 2025, and we have to talk about the fact that the Canada Revenue Agency hates women. They hate families. They hate absolutely everybody, and I'm going to explain what the title of the show means. I want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight. Let me just adjust that camera there. And we'll be taking questions. So the first hour, I'm going to hit you with a ton of information. And after the first hour is said and done, I'm going to take your questions. Now, the vast majority of you ask questions on TikTok and Kick. Thank you for that. Everybody who's watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Rumble, Restream. There's a few others out there. If you could, please, if you have serious questions, just go to my website and use the contact form. That's KevinJJohnston.me. That's KevinJJohnston.me, and ask the question. I'll address as many as I can before 11 p.m. tonight. We already got a question here. This is a good one. Do you do taxes for somebody that is employed? Absolutely, we do. There is something called the T2125 form, which will grant us the capacity to put down a whole ton of expenses that will reduce your tax bill. And the idea here, everyone, is to reduce your tax bill. Something I absolutely cannot stand are accountants in Canada who take your money, and by the time you are spending money with these accountants, you still owe the CRA money. I thought the reason that you go to an accountant is to not owe money. In Canada, I guess what we'll say is this, everyone. In Canada, the Canada Revenue Agency, like I've just already answered here, is a third-party collection agency. It really is. It's funded by the federal government of Canada, but it has a status of what is referred to as at arm's length. So what that means is, even though the Canada Revenue Agency gets federal funding to do what it does, and that's steal people's money, it still is not considered a full-fledged government agency, which means that when the Canada Revenue Agency steals money from people or puts together really ridiculous ideas, like putting 30 to 50% on your taxes that you may or may not owe, which you don't owe, the federal government says, well, we have no control over that. They don't really work for us. The CRA is its own division. They do their own thing. So it's the blame game. Trudeau says, it ain't me, it's the CRA. The CRA says, we got a mandate from Trudeau. Who do you believe? Well, believe me, because I'm the only one that the Canada Revenue Agency is afraid of. And believe me, they are. They do not like the fact that we send, we hire private investigators all over Canada. We find out where Canada Revenue Agency staff members, they call themselves officers. Let's call them what they are, losers and terrorists. We send out the dogs to go find out where they live. And then we send out cease and desist orders to the CRA agents at their homes. There you go. Yeah, that's what we do. I've been doing this for years, everybody. Over 25 years in Canada, I would show up at the homes of bylaw officers or police or whomever was bothering me with cease and desist letters or with lawsuits. And the best time of day to serve somebody at their home, midnight, 1 a.m., ring the doorbell. In Canada, if you're serving court documents or you're serving legal notifications, you actually are an officer of the court. You do actually have that temporary status of officer of the court. So if you want to ring someone's doorbell for 12 straight hours or 12 straight days, you can just stand there and just keep doing it until they answer the door and take the court documents from you. Yeah, tell me about it. Isn't it great? You can pitch a tent on someone's lawn, in Canada, and wait for them to come home and then serve them those court papers. Now, of course, the rules are the second that you serve, if you want to dance and that flossing dance or anything like that, you have to leave the property immediately and then go do your dancing on the sidewalk. Do it on city or municipal or regional property. Don't dance in front of somebody after you've served them court papers on their own property. So yes, we serve Canada Revenue Agency staff, losers, paperwork at their homes. And I tell them, policy is between midnight and 6 a.m. Don't waste your time going there at dinner time. Get them when they're at home. Ring the doorbell, midnight. I mean, whenever I lived in Canada and I would tell the truth about politicians on the former Twitter, now X, back when Jack Dorsey used to run it, the Peel Regional Police Force would ring my doorbell at 1 o'clock in the morning to tell me to be nicer on Twitter. That literally went on for 3.5 years. That's how Canada functions. That's why I don't live there anymore. I like the idea of being able to say what I want here in Panama, but I still rescue the dollars and cents for Canadians all over the country. So what do I mean when I say that the Canada Revenue Agency hates women? I'm going to reflect on the previous episode, probably episode 38 to 40, somewhere in there, where I read to you not only the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, but the CRA Auditor's Handbook. Yes. Excuse me, there is such a thing. Chapter 10 is in the Auditor's Handbook, teaches auditors who work for the CRA how to be lying, deceitful, cheating, intimidating losers. Teaches them this. So, for example, if you're a business owner and the Canada Revenue Agency sends you out some letters and you ignore them, well, they still want you to do your tax return, so they will call you after you ignore their letters. And if you hang up the phone on them, whatnot, what they'll do next is they go to your spouse. Yeah, that's right. So if you're the owner of the company and you won't reply, they're supposed to track down who you are and if you're married or not. And the only way they know is if you say you're married on a tax return, which you should never do. There's no advantage to that. So then they'll contact your spouse, give her a tough time. If the two of you say nothing or just refuse to cooperate, then they'll start calling members of your staff. If the staff have been told properly by you not to engage, they'll call your clients or your suppliers or your bank or your landlord. They will harass everyone to try to embarrass you into either paying them or just filing outstanding tax returns, right? However, if the situation becomes hostile, let's just say you start screaming at them and calling them names or whatever else you want to call them, then that is considered a hostile environment and the auditors will actually stop contacting you. Did you know that? Threaten an auditor and they go away. It's hilarious. It's actually in their policy, but it's better to do it my way, everyone. Get a hold of me. I'll call the auditor. I'll be really polite and I'll say, thank you for your very kind offer to have my client's records audited, but we're going to decline. You go ahead and cancel that. And I send them over a no trespass notice, banning them for life from contacting my client, going to my client's business, talking to their wives or kids. Oh yeah, we ban them. We have the right to do this. The Canada Revenue Agency is not a police force. They're just a bunch of losers who all of you mistakenly believe have authority in Canada. They target women. Now let's talk about this. I'm going to sound a little bit sexist here, but that's not the goal. The goal is not to be a chauvinist pig here. The goal is to tell you what the CRA's policies are so that you ladies out there can build a better defense against them and a better way of life in general when you know your rights. The Canada Revenue Agency has something called the Sucker Index. It's a number that starts at 000 and goes up to 999. The Canada Revenue Agency calls this the Client Index. You're not a client. None of us are clients of the CRA. We did not go to the CRA and say we would absolutely love to work with the CRA, or better yet, work for you and give you our money for no reason whatsoever. Who says that? Who does that? Right? Nobody who is thinking does that kind of thing. So we're not clients. It's actually what I refer to as the Sucker Index. So when the CRA makes a phone call to you, if you cry, your number goes up. If you apologize, your number goes up. If you beg for forgiveness, your number goes way up. If you pay them, your number goes up. If you cooperate, your number goes up. You know, most Canadians have a number of over 700 because Canadians are chicken, just real chicken. You all feel that you have to justify yourself. You all feel that if you apologize and be all pathetic like and tell your life story to these losers on the phone, that they're actually going to care and that you're actually going to escape your tax bill. But you don't talk to these people. Your Sucker Index is going to keep going up. The CRA counts on the fact that women, psychologically speaking, I mean, Jordan Peterson talked about this many times, psychologically speaking, women are easier to threaten. Not just physically, but I mean on the phone. So when you hear things like, or the sentence, it's the government, you have to do what they say. That 9 times out of 10, when I hear that, it's a woman telling me that. I had it out. There's a place, and I'm just going to tell you the story because I've got permission. They're out on the east coast of Canada. It's a carpet store called Ritchie's Carpet Store. And what Ritchie's does is they actually break the law, right? They had an auditor, which you don't have to cooperate with. They cooperated with the auditor. And the auditor says, if you have contractors that buy supplies from you, you have to put them on a T4A, which is commission sales. So if you're buying stuff from a carpet store to sell to your clients, they give you a T4. You don't even work for the store, but they're so afraid of the CRA that they're actually illegally issuing T4A slips to their suppliers or to their customers. If someone brings them a sale and they write an invoice saying, here's a sale, this is my commission or my markup, pay me, they're actually filling out T4As. Now, I called this woman. Her name is Tracy. You know what? Give her a call. Ritchie's Carpet Store out in the East Coast. Give her a call. This woman here, I'm saying, look, my client, we can't do his personal taxes because you're issuing T4As. He does not work for you. He has never given you his social insurance number. You have no record of employment with this individual. I'm just kindly asking, could you please erase, delete, cancel the T4A slips that you've given him? I'm not going to do that. We got audited 4 years ago, and we were told by this representative that we have to do this, so I'm going to do it. It's the government. You have to do it. That's how she was talking to me on the phone. I don't even know this person, and she's so afraid of the CRA that when me as a legal agent for my client calls, she has to tell me the whole history of this company and why this company is afraid to actually follow the law. So what I'm going to say here is this company is in violation of the law. What they're doing is they are taxing someone who doesn't even work for them, which means, of course, I'm going to report them to the CRA for that. And they are so afraid of being audited that I'm using it as leverage. I told them, here's the way it works. You are going to erase that T4A, or I'm going to go to the courts and I'm going to file a motion within the courts to have a judge demand that you do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my client's tax returns for him, stating that there is no commission sales. He does not work for you. You should not be giving him any paperwork from you whatsoever. And when I do that, that will trigger an audit. And I'm not one to cooperate with the CRA, but because this woman screamed at me and got my back up a little bit, I will cooperate with the CRA to help hurt that company. When I was explaining to her, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you're actually incorrect. You don't have to cooperate with the government. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know everything about tax and you have to do it. This is how she's talking to me. I said, well, I've been doing this for 40 years and I also have a law background and I can tell you that you're wrong. You don't have to cooperate with an audit. We don't. We put them in prison when they give us a difficult time. All right. Well, I don't like you. I don't like you at all. The way that you're talking to me, sir, I don't like you. Then she pulls that politician feminist crap. You're just a little too aggressive. I can't talk to you. And I told her, you're being very aggressive. I'm actually afraid of you. So just cancel the T4As and you'll never hear from me again. So she hangs up the phone. She plays politics inside the place, saying that this KevinJJohnston guy was screaming at her and yelling at her and accusing her and all kinds of things. Now, I record all these calls. I record the calls. The owner of the place, instead of calling me, because he's male, this guy's name is Trevor, and his brother, I think it's Andy, run this place. Trevor and Andy Ritchie is their name. Doesn't call me to discuss this CRA issue that he's having. Calls my client and screams at him, stating that this guy can't call us, only do it by email and so on. Fine. I don't ever want to talk to this woman again. But Now they are in the precarious position of, I'm going to go ahead and do my client's taxes because I don't give a crap about Richie's carpet. They're not my client. I care about my client. There will be an audit that gets triggered when I do this. And I'm actually happy that the CRA is going to give them a tough time, because this company told me, we're afraid of the CRA and we're not going to cooperate with you. And I'm going to scream and yell at you because of our fear of the CRA. So when you have a woman in charge of a place, in charge of the accounting and bookkeeping, and she's been told by a CRA auditor, loser, that you have to break the law and issue T4 slips to someone that doesn't even work for you, she does it because it's the government and you have to do it after all. So she's going to cost her company a lot of money here, because the audit will get in there. They'll have to call their lawyer and spend money and waste a week showing all their records to this auditor. Meanwhile, my client, I'll be finally able to do his taxes for him. And since this company has been issuing T4As, all that money is going to come back to my client, every penny, to the tune of like 300 grand. Ladies, the CRA hires psychiatrists and psychologists, military grade, to write these scripts for CRA staff specifically to frighten women. It's what they do. And ladies, being who you are, God bless you for it, you take the bait. And you got to stop taking the bait. Just because someone works for the government doesn't mean you have to talk to them. How many videos have you all seen on YouTube or TikTok where some cop is being an obnoxious jerk in the States, in Canada, in England, and everyone says the same thing? Can I get your name and badge number? I do not consent to searches. I don't answer questions. Get your supervisor. Yeah, you can talk to cops like that. They have guns. The Canada Revenue Agency are not even cops. And all of you are afraid of them for some reason. So the CRA targets female staff, especially bookkeepers and accountants in these companies. Hold on, we got a troll here. Let's get rid of this guy named Steve and block and goodbye. I haven't got time for trolls, everybody. So we just send them on their way, on their merry way. Canada Revenue Agency understands the, well, they don't understand, sorry, the psychologists and the psychiatrists who write these scripts for the staff, they understand that we live in this ridiculous politically correct world where when men and women are working together in the same place, there's all kinds of stupid policies that have been written, typically by the employer, stating that a man cannot raise his voice to a woman, and if a woman feels uncomfortable, she can take a 2-hour break and so on. So the CRA will exploit these things, just like I'm going to exploit that stupid woman that works for that particular company who's in the way of my client getting back his money. I'm going to exploit her. Tell you flat out, CRA is coming over. I'm calling the CRA to report fraud. They will audit you because of my complaint. So, ladies, don't shout. Be professional. And what you need to do is when someone's talking to you on the phone, listen to them. Listen to them. All I wanted was one little thing. Delete, cancel the T4As because you put them there illegally. It doesn't matter that the CRA said you have to do it. If a CRA member tells you shoot this person in the head with this gun, hands you the gun, and you do it, you're the one going to jail because you did it. When someone tells you to break the law and you break the law, they don't go. You go. You might be able to state on the stand, well, he told me to do it, and maybe that guy will get charged with solicitation of a crime. What do they call it in the States? I think it's a different charge in the States, but counseling to a crime. All right. Because you commit the crime doesn't mean that they're going to go to jail. It means you are. All right. And for everybody who's asking questions right now in TikTok, save your questions for the second hour, please. I've got a lot to go through tonight. We're going to be at this for 2 hours. Get your questions ready. If you're in the Rumble room, get your questions ready. I'll be addressing everyone's questions for the last hour over here on Kick. Same thing. Thank you all for all the questions, guys, but hang on to them. I'm going to address each and every one of them. Now, this is the next one. It's a little bit of a lecture on taxes, but it's also a little bit of a lecture on being an adult. All right, everyone. And I'm not popular when I bring this up. Doesn't matter. This is not a beauty contest. This is not a pageant to see who the most popular guy is. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to educate. That is my job. Educate all of you on taxes. So ladies, when the Canada Revenue Agency contacts you, now that you know they've got psychologists that write this stuff that's designed to frighten you, I want you to stop being afraid when the CRA calls you. Just stop. What they know, and the cops know this, bylaw officers are trained in this stuff, CRA's trained in this stuff. They know that if you frighten a man's girlfriend or a man's wife, she'll instantly blame him. It's your fault. This cop is talking to us because of you. The CRA is calling because of you. And they'll fight their husband, scream at their husband, fix this problem. Don't do that. Don't even react. When the CRA sends you a piece of paper, just get a hold of me and I'll deal with them. They're terrified of me, so they'll do what I tell them. Don't fight with your boyfriend. Don't fight with your fiance. Don't fight with your husband about any of this stuff, because what you're doing, ladies, is you're doing the CRA's job for them and you're not even getting paid for it. Think about that. I went through this once with my ex. A letter showed up and she was squawking and screaming at the top of her lungs. I didn't even know what she was screaming about. I had to ask her, tell me what the problem is. And I read it. It was just a threat from the Canada Revenue Agency. And I said, here, I handed her cash. I can't listen to you right now. I have to do some research. I need to know how to counter what they're saying here. I need to read case law. I need to read the law. I gave her cash. I said, go to a hotel. I don't want to see you until after you're finished work on Monday. As a man, I manned up, and this is what I had to do to get the weekend now to deal with this. Now I'm upset that I had to spend the whole weekend doing it, but I solved the problem. And when she came back on Monday, she actually forgot why I sent her to the hotel in the first place. I told her on the Tuesday, I solved the problem. There you go. So it's not right that I was in that kind of a relationship where I had to send my woman away for a few days to be able to focus on fixing the task. But I did. I solved the problem. Ladies, I'm asking you kindly, please don't fight with your spouse. Sit down with your spouse or your fiance or who, whatever your titles are. Sit down with them. Read the letter. Plan a strategy. Try to understand what mistakes that you made as a couple and then work together to fix them. The CRA, ladies, will pick on you every single solitary time. And we mentioned earlier in this show about the sucker index. If you're a woman that answers the phone and you start crying on the phone, or, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, man, your sucker index goes up. They're going to type it in their notes. This woman cried and whatnot, and she's married. Let's piss her off so that she goes after her husband. They literally type these notes into their screen if you're the one who's crying on the phone. So now what you've done is you've given the CRA the advantage of being the ones on the attack and you're on the defense. And you can never be on the defense with these people. You have to be either at a neutral level or you're the ones on the attack. That's why you hear me in all these videos attacking the CRA, threatening the CRA with legal action, threatening these individuals who are not even Canadian citizens with deportation. And I'm not kidding. I will give their names to the FBI, especially now that Trump's in office. I will give the names to the Trump administration of these individual CRA representatives stating these people are domestic terrorists in Canada. Don't let them into your country. And believe me, when a big mouth like me, who is notorious for doing this type of thing, I'll be listened to. I mean, right now, just so you understand the magnitude of my reputation with the government. Right now, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, that useless police force, is watching this show. They're taking notes. They're transcribing everything. And they submit all of this to the Liberal Party of Canada. Also, there's CSIS, the Canadian version, I guess, of the NSA, except without the guns or the policing powers or the gun, anything, whatever. They suck. But CSIS is watching this show. The Canadian government is so worried about what I have to teach all of you about taxes, about laws, about how to defeat cops in court, how to defeat loser bylaw officers, how to do bank runs, how to get your money out of Canada down here to Panama. The government is watching what I'm doing because the government is well aware of the fact that I absolutely despise the Canadian system and I have figured it out. And they don't want me teaching that to you. Too bad for them. So, ladies, I'm going to beg you again. I've done this before on previous shows. I'm going to beg you again now. Understand that the Canada Revenue Agency has a mandate to collect as much money as possible, and they will use every dirty tactic going. And they just know that when it's a woman who's on the phone, the attacks, the threats, the shouting, they know it's going to work. You cannot let it work on you. Please just tell them, I'm calling the police. Hang up the phone or hire me as your legal agent and I'll jump on the phone with them. After I send them legal letters banning them from communicating with you, I'll record the call. I record every call, every phone call that comes in here when it's not a client. I don't record my client calls, but when I'm calling on behalf of a client to the CRA, to the government offices out there, to their employers, to their banks, whatnot, I record them all. I will record the call with the CRA and I'll send you the MP3 file for your own enjoyment and austerity purposes, as you should be comfortable in your own home. You should be free of stress when you're the one paying for the phone bill. You should be the ones, you should just not be bothered by people that you don't know. You should have the right to dictate in life who's going to communicate with you and who's not. As soon as you say, stop talking to me, they have to, but you have to flex that legal muscle. All right. Nighthawk 389 says, you've reached out to me. They froze your bank account. The solution, I'll redo your taxes for 10 years and that bank account will be lifted for you. You're going to be fine. All right. So everyone get your questions ready, please. I'm going to start the Q&A in about 10 minutes. How about that? We'll do it a bit early tonight. So I want the women out there who also do taxes for a living, the accountants out there, understand this. When someone calls you, when a man calls you, they're not calling to attack you. When I'm calling anyone saying that my name is, my client is, I've been retained to talk to you about this, why get your back up? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever for you to take your job personally. And this is something I do want to address with Canadian women. When you're at work and someone maybe is raising their voice, maybe they have a tone you don't like, maybe you don't like their haircut, maybe they show up angry. It's nothing personal. I don't know you. When I'm phoning someone, I don't know you. Nothing that I am saying to you is a personal attack. Instead of being offended by it and costing your company money, which this woman has done, why not just do your job to the best of your ability? If you truly don't like somebody, hanging up on them is going to make them angry and you're going to get a retaliation. This is something that maybe you haven't considered. When you don't like somebody on the phone, address the situation. Forget about who they are. Address the situation, end the call, and you probably will never hear from them again. When people get what they need first and what they want second, they have no reason to call you. So don't take any of this personally. Don't take your taxes personally. Don't take your job personally. Don't take the fact that someone might point out to you that you're incorrect. Don't take it personally at all, because all you're doing is playing into the CRA's hands. All right. And I'm telling you that the phone call that I had yesterday with that woman, Tracy, her name is, I forget her last name, but when I called her just to ask her one small thing, please, it's free. It's free for them to cancel T4As. It's free. They just got to put a cancellation notice on a piece of paper and fax it to the Quebec office. That's all they have to do. Instead of doing that, she figured that insulting me on the phone, screaming at me on the phone, and then hanging up on me was going to solve her problem. No, it's not. She may lose her job over this because I am going, now that my back is up, I actually thought I need to make a point. I'm not going to be spoken to that way by anyone, especially when I have a job to do. And this individual needs to be taught the lesson that she's wrong. The lesson here, everybody, is that when I'm telling you the CRA does not have authority, please serve me so I can serve my client and get rid of me. And you want to tell me that you're right because you've got 30 years less experience than me? Yeah, my back is going to get up a little bit here. And I'm going to now make sure that the CRA is well aware of the fact that they are breaking tax law and get the audit going. It's a punishment. Now, don't put people in a position where they're going to punish you. Don't do that. And I have to punish this company because the only way now to serve my client is to punish the company. When you hire me, my job, when I tell you I'm going to get your tax bill to zero and I don't, guess what happens? I give you back your money. That's what I do. So my job, if I want to get paid, is to make sure that I punish this company, get those T4As canceled, and get my client dealt with. Ladies, the CRA does this because it works. Don't let it work. So when I say the CRA hates women, when they behave the way that they do to women, even the women who work for CRA treat women like complete garbage and scream and yell at them and threaten them, you know what I'm saying. That means that they hate you. And they know that they're going to get to you. Don't let them get to you. Please don't let them get to you. Don't scream and yell at legal agents who are trying to help their clients. Just take a step back and realize that everything that the CRA does, it's just arbitrary nonsense. Anything that the CRA does is arbitrary. If you don't react emotionally and just solve the problem. All right, I'm going to take some questions here now. Can my dad transfer his farm to me tax-free? I live on the farm. If I'm your tax guy, yes. There's a method to my madness on this one. What you need to do there, just to give you a quick idea, we got to register you a numbered corporation. And we got to move the property into the numbered corporation and then make you and or your father, or just you in that case, director and shareholder. And that way the property it's transferred well before your father passes away, which is good because when your dad passes away, sometimes properties go into probate and we don't want that. So if it's in a numbered corporation and you are the shareholder, well, congratulations. When your father passes away, the property is already in the numbered corporation. You already own it. Then you don't have to do the will nonsense. You can exclude lawyers from your life after your parents pass away. Here's the other cool part though, is when your father does pass away eventually, come to me because I can redo your dad's taxes for 10 years right back. And I get you back some of the money he's paid. All right. I just did this for a lovely old gal. Her husband's been dead for a couple of years. Yeah. Got her back $80K. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of what I did for her. And she called me up crying, saying, thank you. You're a hero. Don't ever call me that. I'm not a hero. We enter into a contract. I'm a guy that does his job. So, you know what? Say thank you. That's great. But please don't call me a hero. That is not what I am. To be a hero, by my definition, is my life had to be at risk. And I threw myself into danger anyway to save you. Me doing my job is not heroism. It's just doing my job well. But that's what we can do there. Next. John says, I'd like to get your help with taxes. Please send all your info. John, just head over to my website. My name, KevinJJohnston, JOHNSTON.com. Could everybody watching who knows my website address throw it in the chat right here, please? And if you're watching on Rumble and DLive and everywhere else, it's right there. Go ahead. Click on that, book yourself a time, and we'll get talking here. How can you get $90,000+ of debt written off? My husband's ex-wife took this from the government. Okay, so real deal. How can you get $90K debt written off? Is it your debt or is it someone else's debt? Is it a corporate debt or a personal debt? I can write it off just by doing your tax returns properly. Because, I'm not afraid to put everything where it belongs on the tax return. But if you have debts, let's say bad investments, yes, you can write that off. Let's just say you're one of the poor souls out there who got scammed on crypto. You could write off the entire amount as a bad debt, bad investment. You can do that, yes. How can I avoid paying income tax as I work at a retail store? All right, so Moonerwick, we are going to utilize the T2125 form and add expenses. So if you're doing a part-time job, you're allowed to write off everything. Everything. If you had to buy shoes, clothing, safety glasses, hat, if you had to buy any of that for work, I can write all that off. There's many other expenses that I can add to that are all relevant to the job. Let's say, and this is, accountants suck. They won't do this. I will. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, your boss calls you on your phone. Now it's a business phone. We write the whole year off on the phone. Let's say, for the sake of argument, your boss talks to you by email and you answer that email on your computer. Well, if you bought a computer and you're using it for work, I can write off the entire amount of that laptop and or desktop computer. Even if it's a gaming machine worth 10 grand, I can write off the entire amount. Anything you use to help you make money, you can write off. Doesn't matter what it is. For the OnlyFans girls out there, don't do that for a living. It's degrading. Don't do that. But if you got breast implants, I would write that off as a marketing expense. So whatever the entire amount of the surgery and the flight to get there and the drugs afterwards, I would write all that off. Marketing, because obviously you're using it to make money, right? Those implants are tools of the trade, part of your marketing. All right, Underdog, thank you for the roses, man. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Do you take a percentage of that, or what is the price? So if we are doing really simple personal tax returns for people where I don't have to write legal letters, it's $350 per year per person. That's it. So if I go back 10 years, that's $3,500. If I have to do really complicated stuff where I have to dig and figure things out and so on, your tax bill could be up to $2,000 per year. Now, when we get to that level, if it's that complicated, we don't charge anything up front. We take 35% of what we get you back from the CRA. All right, that's what we do. So if you get back 100 grand, we get 35,000. You get 65,000, and you get to walk. We get to walk. Everyone's happy, except the CRA. And that is how I like it. So larger bills like $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, people don't want to pay those in advance. I get it. It's a tough economy. So we put you onto a contract and we do the 35-65 where you get a lot of money back. Okay, looking at this here. Can you write off dentist appointments? If I'm your tax guy, yes. If you go to a standard accountant, no. I would be putting that down in medical. It's a medical expense. Or if you're a gorgeous hunk of man like myself, doing this kind of a show, teeth cleaning. Yeah, haircuts. You can write all that off. I mean, I live in Panama, so teeth cleaning is $40 and this haircut's $5. So, I mean, like, it's not really a big write-off. But back in Canada, teeth cleaning is $200, haircut's $40. You can write all that off as medical. The haircut and the whitening could also be marketing. I would write all that off. Now, the CRA might send you a letter saying, we don't believe you. We want to see evidence of all your medical expenses. Now see, that's where the legal letters come in. I am going to send them off a non-compliance letter telling them that, no, we will not comply because you have to prove the relevancy of your request. And without a court order, we are not obligated to share our medical records with you. One more thing, we are not indentured servants in Canada. So if the CRA is going to ask you to do something at all, they need to compensate you for your time. But you have to tell them in advance that they have to compensate you for your time. I have always told the CRA, you want something from me and you want it free, go get a court order. Get a judge to write an actual court order. And then I have to comply. kind of, which they won't do. Or pay me my hourly rate, $300 an hour, 7-hour minimum. There you go. Cut me a check. No, don't do that. Their checks will bounce. No, I'll take Bitcoin. And then I'll do what you ask, but not until. And you have the right to make the same demands, no matter who you are. If you're in Canada and you're a landed immigrant or citizen with a social insurance number, you all have the same right to say no to anything that they ask. My business had a rough year and got 6 months behind in remaining payable. Jake, I have a new service that started 2 weeks ago. You should transfer all of your payroll to my company. What you'll do when you do transfer your payroll to my company, you will not pay the matching on CPP and EI, and you'll save 20% on the initial CPP and EI per staff member per week. Is that incredible or what? But if you're behind on your payroll, if it's a corporation, I can solve that problem for you, but you got to get a hold of me. It's really complex to explain it here. To solve payroll problems, sometimes the payroll problems are so bad and the amount of money owed is so high that the only solution is for you to do a share sale and sell me your corporation. And I take over all of your debts. And then we start you over in a brand new company. That's typically it. If you're 6 months behind, here, Jake, tell me how much money you're behind. Let's see what that is. Let's have a look and see that, please. All right. Do you use Wealth Simple to file taxes? No, most of what we do is actually manual. Wealth Simple is QuickBooks is TurboTax is garbage. Don't use that. Do you do crypto? What if someone has a bunch of crypto and has traded various things? Shut up about your crypto. That's what you do. Why would you want to tell the IRS, the ATO, or the CRA anything about the fact that you've got a currency that they have no laws to tax? Shh. Do not talk about your crypto. Nobody should even know you have it until it's time to make a crypto purchase. By the way, speaking of crypto, doesn't matter how big your invoice is with me and my accounting company. If you pay in crypto, you get 10% off your bill. Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, Kronos, and Ethereum. We'll take those. Any of those, 10% off your bill, no matter how big your bill is. And actually, some gentleman just did that the other day because he saved almost $10,000 doing that. He was ecstatic. For me, because I'm not interested in instant gratification. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't need to make 100K right now and then go buy stuff. I make 100K, or well, actually, this particular case, it was $88,000 in Bitcoin. I am playing the long game. I know that $88,000 in Bitcoin, if I hang on to it for 5 years, it'll be $500,000, if not more. So just don't talk about your crypto and you're going to be fine. Want to be problematic if we say no, they might take away something. Well, they have to follow. That's a good question. They have to follow the CRA. If the Canada Revenue Agency wants to take something away, they have a very stringent policy that they have to follow. It's an order of operations that if they don't follow, they can do prison time. Okay. They send you out a letter. My name is, you owe this much money. Get back to us within 14 days. Then they make 3 phone calls. Then they send one more letter threatening you, and then they will act. That's when they send out the requirement to pay letter to your boss saying garnish his wages, which the boss legally does not have to do. And then they'll also send letters out to your bank saying, take this money, give it to us, which the bank is not obligated to do. The employers and the banks are cowards, and they do it. So join me, everybody. If a bank has taken your money and given it to the CRA, I'll teach you how to file criminal charges against the bank manager. If 1 million Canadians all filed criminal charges against the banks for theft and conspiracy, they'd stop doing it. We have a lot of power in this country, but you got to exercise it. So if you don't ignore the CRA, you just don't do what they say. Get me to talk to the CRA on your behalf, because I'll be your tax guy, but also your legal agent acting on your behalf to get them to leave you alone. and then we appeal all their decisions, and that buys us up to 2 years to be able to fix your taxes up, which only takes me a couple of weeks to get done. In some cases, just a couple of days if it's really simple. Megan says, if you don't provide them info for a review, they will do a reassessment and you will owe. A reassessment is just a guess. And because it's just a guess, it is not enforceable in law. So we instantly appeal that decision and then just redo the taxes. And I send in legal demands and affidavits telling them that they're wrong. You better fix it now. That's all that it takes. You should all be problematic for the CRA. All of you. But that's what we do. We appeal everything because tax court's free to go to. So Jake says you're behind $15,000 and you're incorporated. Jake, that's not a big enough number to do anything wild and crazy. We could fix that one, but you got to get a hold of me on that. And yeah, we can certainly fix up your issue there with payroll. You'll like my solution, but it's going to take me a good half hour to explain it to you, especially to do with your case. But here's the deal, everybody. If you have a small corporation, when I say small, 100 people or less working for you, you should not be doing your own payroll. Here's how payroll works. I'm actually let me read some numbers out so that we get this exact. I don't want to just throw numbers at you arbitrarily. So I'm bringing up a website here called the Income Tax Calculator. And we're going to click on the province of Ontario because 15 million people live in the province of Ontario in Canada. If you get paid $100,000 a year, your total tax is $26,136. $14,000 of that is federal tax. $7,000 of that is provincial tax. And then you've got the CPP, Canada Pension Plan, and EI, or Employment Insurance deductions of $5,105. Now, as an employer, you have to give $26,136 to the government that you've stolen from your staff member, but also the CPP and the EI premium, you have to give the government the equal amount that you took from your staff member. You have to match it with your own money and pay that to the government, 100% for Canada Pension Plan and 140% for EI. So essentially, you're going to be giving the government an additional $6,000 per staff member. Is that crazy or what? So if you've got 10 employees, that's $60,000 you have to give to the government for nothing. It's not like you, the employer, are ever going to get CPP to the tune of $60,000. Why would you want to give that away to the government? So what you do is you have my company do payroll for you. We only take the gross that's owed to the individual person. You don't give us that $6,000. You keep it. It's yours. We will do T4s for your staff, and we'll pay the CRA when we feel like it. When the CRA is willing to negotiate with us, we'll pay them. But you don't have to bother with it. You cannot have that liability resting over your head, because if your company goes belly up, the CRA will still chase the director for the GST and the payroll. Nothing else, just those two things, which means also none of you should be the director of your company. You should have a fictional character. John Smith, Pocahontas, the Terminator, I don't know, Bugs Bunny, who cares? It just shouldn't be you as the director. You should be the 100% shareholder, but not the director. So if any of you need help with that, it's $1,500 and I can get all that done for you, where we get rid of you as the director and make a false name as director, and then you become shareholder. We write the shareholder agreements for you, and life is good. If I made some money, let's say $200 online right now, how would CRA find out? Only one way. Only one way. Sir, what's your name there? Munnerwick. Munnerwick. They find out if you tell them. The tax return is you and you snitching on yourself. Everything you put on a tax return is voluntary. So don't make it easy for them. Don't tell them and keep the money. To make a crypto account, they have my SIN number. That would be for Kevin O'Leary's BS company, which is WonderFi. He bought Coinberry and turned it into BitBuy. Don't deal with those people. If you're dealing with crypto.com or Binance, you don't have to give your social insurance number to them because they're not Canadian companies. There you go. Do I like XRP? I like it so much that I buy 10,000 coins a month. Yes. Preacher B says, you've got 50K. Oh my God. You have $50,000 in outstanding payroll as a sole proprietor. Oh, you got to get a hold of me. We got to fix that right now. You can never operate a sole proprietorship in Canada. You just cannot do it. It's attached directly to your social insurance number, which means it's tied directly to your tax returns. The CRA knows everything about what you do as a sole proprietor the second that you send in your tax return or your GST credit forms. You can't do that. You got to get a hold of me. Never do business as a sole proprietor because you can't sell your debt to me. All right, that's it. You got to do everything through corporations. Please get a hold of me, preacher. Okay, how much do you charge for your services? I've actually already covered that at the beginning of the show. $350 for basic personal tax returns per year, $19.50 for corporate tax returns basic per year. I'm about 1/3 to 1/5 the price of chartered professional accountants, even though we have CPAs on our team who hate the CRA as much as I do. You get CPA skill set and better at bookkeepers' prices. There you go. Can we refuse to have income tax taken from our paychecks? Well, you can go on contract. If you have a conversation with your employer and you tell your employer, you want to write invoices because I want to write off my car, my fuel, my food, my clothes, my laptop, and the employer says yes, then what you would do is contact me. We'll open up a numbered corporation for you. And then you do everything through the corporation. And that way you never have to file taxes again at that point. But if the employer says, no, we want to do payroll, get a hold of me and I'm going to add a boatload of expenses to offset the taxes that your coward employer is taking from you. So yes, you can negotiate with your employer anytime you want. Fire me and bring me on board as a contractual staff member or just a contractor in general, and I'll cut you invoices. So you have that right. Does it cost anything to do appeals? If you're going to appeal with the CRA, no. There is an appeal form for your taxes, and there's a separate one for GST notices. It costs nothing to get the appeal. If you hire me to do it for you, to do all your appeal work for you, I don't know, between $250 and $500, depending on the complexity. If I have to represent you in tax court, if you make a donation to the charity I work with for $2,000, you can't pay me to represent you because I'm not licensed. I can represent you at that particular point. There you go. Do I mostly deal with CRA or the IRS as well? I will deal with the IRS in the United States for corporate tax only. So if someone has a corporation with a ton of IRS debt, I can buy that corporation from you and take all the IRS debt away from you. There you go. How do I file taxes manually? Paper. We do it on paper. That's the best way because the software, check this out, everybody. The Canada Revenue Agency is getting very sneaky. They're starting to threaten and for some reason it's working, companies like TurboTax, Junk, and QuickBooks. Yeah, and a few of the other ones out there. All right. They're threatening them saying, remove people's ability to get more tax back. That's what they're doing. So remember in the old days where you could put down all kinds of deductions. Well, QuickBooks is starting to remove those deductions. So if you want to have them, we got to do it on paper. And then I fill out all my affidavits and I send in your form with my legalese and we ship it. We don't mail it. We ship it to the CRA with a tracking number. So we know that they got it. That's how we do it. Do you fight the CRA online or do you have to physically go to court? I physically was in court with the CRA 29 times last year. We won 28. We lost 1. We appealed the one that we lost. And we're going to be arguing that one in June. And the judge was a dumbass. He just doesn't like me. Yeah, he accused me of being a free man on the land person and a sovereign citizen. I don't deal with those people at all. I would never encourage you to go the route of a sovereign citizen because that stuff doesn't work. No. So he said he decided for himself that I'm a free man on the land guy. Again, which I'm not. I told him I'm not. I refuse to be part of that movement. I have zero interest in those people. The judge says, well, I don't care what you say. I think you're a free man. And he would not let us win that case. So we appealed it because the judge made an error in law. So you'll hear the term, the judge erred in law, which he did. So we're appealing his really childish decision. And that comes up in June, where we get to argue to a panel of 3 judges that were not related to the original case. Don't they track your transactions through the bank? Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. The CRA is not a police force. They can't even get warrants because they're not cops. They're not detectives. They cannot see what's in your bank account unless you give them permission. That's it. They could get a court order, but they don't get court orders because it costs money and they're into making money, not spending money. So no, it doesn't matter how much money you put through your bank account. Unless you tell the CRA about it, they're never going to know. Don't worry. Everyone thinks, oh my God, like, how do I account for this? I don't want to put this check in the bank for my aunt because the CRA might ask where it came from. No, they're not. Why do you think like this? Why does everyone think that everything is scrutinized? Ladies and gentlemen, I am a public figure. I have been a public figure in Canada that the government hates for 8 straight years. And they're not even scrutinizing the stuff I have in Canada. What makes you think they're going to scrutinize you? Come on, stop it. Isn't it impossible to avoid crypto tax in Canada? CRA knows as soon as it hits your bank. No, they don't. Who told you? Where are you getting this information from? Who told? Think back. Whenever you have these ideas, everybody, and you over here, you up here, you over here, when you have these ideas in your head, think back to who said it to you. Always go back to the source of the information. And it might be like, oh, I think my friend Jack told me that when he was drunk at John's party. Oftentimes, the stupid crap that everyone has in their heads came from a stupid person that they know on a personal level, and you believe them because you like the person. Just because you like someone or they're friends of yours, it doesn't mean they're right. Most often, they're wrong. Everyone says crap to sound important. Remember what Andy Warhol said? Everybody will experience 15 minutes of fame. Everybody wants their 15 minutes for some reason. And they don't care that they are giving a good friend incorrect information. They just want to sound important. Now, when someone dies, 2-3 years later, some stupid person in the family will say, I had a bad feeling about that trip. I told them not to go. No, you didn't, you lying dog. Why would you say that? To sound important at Thanksgiving dinner. None of you have precognition or intuition, and nobody has infinite wisdom. Nobody. When people say these things, call them out on it. So please, if people are telling you that the CRA has access to crypto, your friends don't know what they're talking about. No, the CRA has no access to it. How much money do you save people who pay $350 for basic taxes on average? Is that $350 per week? Let me know. Let me know on that. Can I do trusts? Absolutely. My friend hasn't filed taxes in 10 years. Can you help? Not complex? Yeah, Chad. Just get a hold of me. Someone who has not done taxes in 10 years, the best part about that is the tax bill or the tax amount, unless they have T4s or T4As or T5s, if they don't have any of that, the tax numbers are what I say they are. That's right, because it's legal in Canada to do estimated earnings on your taxes. Because do you really know how much you made? factor in your salary. Your boss will tell you how much you make. But when you go to the casino, when you bet on black on the roulette table and you win, right, is that earnings or not? You have a garage sale. Is that earnings? You find $50 on the ground. Is that earnings? Your friend John says, I bet you can't lick your nose, and you do. And you win the money. Is that earnings? It's only earnings if you tell the CRA that you've earned it, that you've made it. So Johnny B's, tell your friend to get a hold of me. We'll get them fixed in no time. If you have a lien on your house, can they take the money when you sell the house? If it's a lien, yes. If it's a writ, no, if you do the appropriate paperwork. The difference here is that a writ, this is a trick the CRA pulls. And it's evil, but unfortunately it works. However, I can counter it. If you don't do your taxes for a great period of time, and somehow the CRA finds out you've got a house, probably because you did a tax return once and reported your house, sometimes, not often, but sometimes what they'll do is they'll check people's property records if they're having a slow week. So to get you to do your taxes, they will go to a justice of the peace who works for the CRA. It's not an in-court session, so it's not valid. And the justice of the peace will write this notification saying, we're going to put a writ on your property. And the writ will stay there until you do your taxes. So hire me, I do your taxes, I'll do them at a loss, and the writ goes away. Just like that. Just like that. Just redo your taxes, and all that stupid crap goes away. The lien, on the other hand, liens can be there if you don't pay a contractor and the contractor puts a contractor's lien on the property. He has 30 days to perfect the lien, which means he's got to sue you. He puts the lien there, then sues you, and he's got to win for the lien to stay. A lien can be put there by the bank if you didn't pay your mortgage. Sometimes the cities will put liens there if you haven't paid your property tax. But the CRA almost never puts liens on properties. It's always writs that we can defeat by doing your taxes. There we are. More questions. Mr. Fix-It asks a good question here. How can they seize your bank account? They don't. The CRA does not seize your bank account. The CRA issues a requirement to pay letter to the bank, which is not a lawful command, and the banks just do it. It's the banks that give your money to the CRA. The banks steal from you to give money to the CRA who have issued an unlawful command. Charge the bank manager criminally, sue the bank. That's what you do. But don't the banks report to the CRA and give them info about your account? If you give them permission, they do that. All of you need, we're going to offer this in probably March. You have to give the banks a notice of liability letter where you tell the banks, my name is, I have a bank account with your bank, that you are never to give my information to anybody without a court order. If you do, you will be fined $1 million. Serve it to them. They can't reject it. It's a notice of liability. Serve the bank the notice of liability. There you go. CRA, Rachel says, CRA is demanding GST from an assignment property sale that I had intention on owning but had to sell. Okay, that sounds like it was a pre-build, right? So you bought before you built, and the GST assignment can only be valid if you signed up for a GST break when you bought the property. I need more details, Rachel. Can you put some more details in there, please? Can I help you? Of course I can help you. I just need to know what the GST was based on. Absolutely. Government put a lien on my house. Can they take the money when I sell the house? We already answered that. Banks issue T-slips only on your interest. It doesn't say the balance in your bank account. They issue T-slips on your interest earned. That's all they do. You don't have to report it, by the way. Like, I wouldn't put it down. I have a friend took out crypto and they got a tax slip for it. If it's Coinberry, which I think is not Coinbase, they are BitBuy now. or if it's Kevin O'Leary's WonderFi, or if it's ShakePay, those are all Canadian exchanges. Crypto.com and Binance and Kraken and all those big guys who are not in Canada are not legally obligated to do so, and they won't do it. Don't deal with Canadian exchanges. Canada sucks. Your money shouldn't even be in Canada. Put it here in Panama where it's safe. If I open up a private lending corporation and I want to lend millions of dollars, what is the best way? Make sure that you're protected, first off. You want to make sure that you've got money hidden in numbered corporations all over the country. You want to make sure you're always doing banking in provincially chartered banks, and you want to make sure about 50% of your money is not in Canada. Put it in the States, put it in Panama. All right. If you want to do private lending, I deal with a really good lawyer in Ontario who could set the whole thing up for you. You're allowed to be a private lender. You want to make sure you buy insurance for it. That stuff is pricey. So you can actually not have insurance being a private lender by making sure that you've got a lien and a solid contract written when you're lending that money out. Because the banks do that. You can do the exact same thing. You don't actually need insurance. You're just giving money away. I used to work in the insurance business. It's stealing money. It's a license to print money because you're stealing it and giving nothing in return. So you could do it that way. The T-slips banks issue for accounts. Don't the CRA get duplicates? Not always. No, not always. Depends on the bank. The provincial ones, no. The federal ones, yes. First, D. Carly says, first, as a corp company, we only made 60,000. My wife and I minimized taxes, both personal. Okay, well, it sounds like you've got a corporation and two married couple, and you all want to save your taxes. Get a hold of me, make me your tax guy, and you'll never pay tax again. I promise you that. Can't CRAs see stock sales? If you're foolish enough to do, oh, hey, thanks for that gift. I appreciate that. If you're foolish enough to buy stock or to use TD Waterhouse or any of the banks to buy anything, the federal banks will snitch on you. The provincial ones won't. Go to private stock brokerages or do it yourself. Don't, under any circumstances, deal with the big banks in Canada to buy stocks, bonds, gold, silver, anything. Stay away from their investment plans. They all suck. They have no payouts, and those banks hold the taxes back on them. Stay away from the big banks. Munirwick is asking me or telling me, you make $350,000 per year? Clarify, please. Clarence, can they force you to pay money? Okay, I've already answered the lien there, Clarence. Okay, so Trevor says, I'm going to email you. CRA's banging on the doors. Oh, by the way, everybody, don't message me here on Kick. Don't message me on TikTok. Don't do it on Facebook and DLive. Go straight to my website, please. I don't have time to look at social media messages anymore. I'm already booked until the end of February. So get your time in there. I won't see it on TikTok. I really won't. I want to. And I've just recently hired 2 new full-time gals. And I'm flying them down here to Panama to train them implicitly on everything that we do here to make them as good as I am, which I will do very quickly. And I'm probably going to be hiring more soon. So if you've got an accounting background and you're not afraid of things, and you speak English fluently, get a hold of me. All right? Because we're going to need them very soon. Since January of last year, I've hired 5 full-time people. So we're getting busy. I'm just saying, talk to me on my website, not through social media, please. Have I heard of Sidney Brewer? I have. I've had 4 separate conversations with him. He's clever, and I think I've got a meeting with him this weekend. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to work together yet, but probably in some way. I'll keep you posted. We work for ourselves, and the tax man's taking at least $100K. If you work for you get a hold of me. I'll get you half of that back at least. At least. I don't want to do taxes anymore. What can I do to pay minimum tax? Open up a numbered corporation. Get yourself a GST number. Do all your business through that numbered corporation. Never do a tax return. Never do a GST return. Keep the money in your pocket. if you're brave enough, right? If you can't have fear. CRA is not going to do anything, but don't do it if you're afraid, because fear makes you do stupid stuff. All right. I'm a sole proprietor, and CRA decided to charge me for CPP amount and also charge me. Okay. So for that type of an instance, as a sole proprietor, I have to send them off a legal command to discontinue that behavior immediately. So there's a lot of legalese that goes into a letter like that. It's actually a cease and desist letter. So yes, we can get those things done for you. If you have student loan debt, can the CRA collect it? Well, if you've got student loan debt, you're paying the loaning agency. So CRA is not going to be involved in that. What happens if you don't fulfill a bankruptcy condition 10 years later? A bankruptcy condition should only be around for a year, tops. I have heard of some people who are dealing with bankruptcy stuff 10 years later. You had a bad lawyer at that point, and you probably listened to the trustee. Never do what the trustees say. Trustees don't work for you. They work for the CRA. So I don't know. Like I would need more information before I can answer that question properly. Why do I like XRP so much? Because the rumor mills got it that the Russians are going to take it on as a currency because of its low price right now. If any country takes it on as a currency, watch it go to $50. It's going to happen. The network can do 40,000 transactions a second. That's better than Bitcoin. So now it's looking up. What happens? Okay. My audit officer asked me to meet with me. Okay. Miri, if you have an auditor contacting you, you do not cooperate with the audit. Those are voluntary. Please do not cooperate with you. If you want me to get rid of the guy, I do that for $500. I'll get rid of that clown for you and put a no trespass notice on him so that clown can never call you again or go to your property or anything else. Do not ever cooperate with auditors. They have no authority. They are just there to frighten you. And most of them are losers and beta cucks and wimps. Most of them. If you ever want to have some fun, though, if you're, let's just say, and I shouldn't really say this, but I'm going to. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you're kind of like me and you like having fun with government people, because I hate everyone who works for the Canadian government. Every branch. Don't care. So let's just say you do. You could always invite them in your office. You could eat like 15 garlic buds and 10 onions the night before and breathe on them the whole time that they're there. You could get really super bright flashlights and laser pointers and point them at their faces and eyes the whole time that they're there. You know, you could hire a clown and have the guy make balloon animals in front of them all day, answer none of their questions, you know, and then just out of the blue, kick them out, tell them to leave. And if they just look at you all funny, like, call 911, mess with them. You got to enjoy the little things in life. All right. I shouldn't tell you the story, but I will. CRA was putting pressure on a friend of mine years ago. So, you know, my buddy asked me, you know, what do we do? I said, look, bring them in and we'll ask them a bunch of questions. We'll scream at them. We'll yell at them. We'll ask them vulgar, disgusting stuff. We'll tell them things about their mothers that they never knew could possibly be true, you know, and so on. And these auditors came to my buddy's place, and that's what we did. We just gave them a really difficult time the whole time that they were there. And then eventually my buddy just says, get out. So they left and they couldn't find their car. Wonder how that happened. Who towed the car? Well, the car was parked on private property. It didn't belong there. And someone called. I honestly have no idea who could that possibly have been. They went to the impound yard. Mess with these people, right? They're not human beings in my eyes. Do it. Have fun with them. Or hire me and I'll just get rid of them for you. There you go. Is it advisable to have two signatures on an account to deter your accounts at the banks from being seized? Nothing in the way of how your signature looks is going to stop the banks from stealing money if they choose to steal your money. That is why you cannot bank with the federal banks in Canada. BMO, Scotia, CIBC, HSBC, National Bank. I'm missing one. Royal, BMO, those guys. Don't do business with those banks. They suck. Go to the provincially chartered trust companies or the credit unions. CRA tends to not go to those ones because they're provincially chartered. They don't have a federal charter and they don't have a federal deal with the bank. To transfer a farm from my dad to me, can we use a corporate lawyer? Real estate lawyer. There's a lawyer that I deal with in Alberta who can do this for about $2,000 roughly. It's done in one day. It's just done. I'm not sure which province that you're in, but all you got, you know what you guys should do? You look for the lawyers who are winding down their careers. You know, I deal with a couple of lawyers in Canada. Like, I don't give them a lot of business because they don't want it. They're in their 70s and they're retiring. Find those guys and just say, hey, listen, I'm going to give you $500 cash. Here, please transfer it. You'd be amazed at these really small law offices that work from their own garage at home, or sometimes they work out of a vehicle, or they work out of these really crappy offices that you can't even see from the road. Yeah, you can make cash deals with these guys. Let them do it. It's cheap. There you are. I had a business partner and we owed taxes, had money in the bank, and my partner filed for ON for bankruptcy. You lost everything. Never go bankrupt until it's the absolute last choice that you have. I can usually avert bankruptcy just by redoing your taxes at a loss, and we'll get you back all that money. If anybody wants to hire me, go to my website. My name, KevinJJohnston, KEVIN, middle initial J, last name JOHNSTON.com. KevinJJohnston.com. Hit me up there. You can grab your 1-hour consultation there. We can chat and get all your taxes fixed up there. Do I have a phone number, Clarence? Yes, of course I do, but that only goes to clients. I'm sure you understand. We're going to be opening up a toll-free number soon where you can talk to an operator and just illustrate what you need to get done, at which point we will be contacting you during business hours. That is coming, but just not there yet. So, Peter, did the CRA did the bank clean out your account and give it to the CRA, or did your business partner clean out the account? Something that all of you need to keep in mind. Having a business partner when the economy is bad is a really bad idea, because when people get desperate, they just steal. I have no business partners at all. I have shareholders in my company, but those shareholders, they just get paid based on performance, and none of them have access to my bank accounts because they're not partners, they're shareholders. I am the president. I own everything except for the shares that I gave to my team. You don't want to be in a position at all, anybody, where you are trusting your financial life to a partner, business partner, because these guys, they tend to be thieves. It's not good. I do a lot of taxes for a lot of corporations, and it breaks my heart because it's almost every day now where someone says that their business partner just took off with all the money. In fact, it's happening that it's more so business partners taking off with money than it is ex-husbands and ex-wives. Yeah, it's really getting bad out there. If there's a way to do it yourself, find that way and do it yourself. That would be exactly what I would recommend to all of you. All right, I'm just going to look at some more questions here. Let me just check the email box for questions. And how much do you charge to buy someone's corporation if they have HST debt? I will buy your corporation if you have, doesn't matter what the debt is, by the way, HST debt, GST debt, PST debt, income tax, corporate income tax debt. Thanks for the hat there, pal. You've got payroll deduction debt. You might have bank loans. You've got credit cards in the corporate name, not guaranteed by you. Any debt for your corporation, I take it all of it in a share sale. I'm charging 10% of the value of your entire debt, and within 3 days, you're out of debt. That's it. You're out of debt. I take the corporation, and then I argue with the CRA, telling them, I'm going to restructure this company. You have to fungu for a year and let me get all that done. Thank you for the gifts, everyone. I do certainly appreciate that. Oh, thank God. 16 roses, 17, 18, 19, 20 roses, 21 roses. Oh, she keeps going. God, thank you. 22 roses. Wow. Woo, TikTok's awesome that way. Isn't it great? All right. So, by the way, if you're watching on TikTok and over here on Kick, please double tap, get those fingers going. Let's get those hearts flying up the right side of the screen. It really helps the algorithm find this tax show so that we can save people as much tax money as is possible. And believe me, there's a lot of possibilities out there to save tax dollars in Canada because the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency, does not have laws that tells it can do these things. It has acts, ACTS, the Act, the Income Tax Act, the GST Act, the Excise Tax Act are not laws. It's guidelines for those people to be criminals. That's all that it is. So don't fret, everyone. The CRA also does not have a Bill of Rights to protect it. It doesn't. We do. Thank you for that. The Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, everybody, is something that we actually have as citizens. There are 16 clauses in there. About 8 or 9 are really good. And they protect us from the CRA's actions. You just have to be strong enough and adult enough to use them to your advantage. It's exactly what you should be doing. All right. Let's check out more. What about CERB? Even though they gave us T4 and sent with my taxes, they took it. All right. If you have a CERB debt, you have to solve the CERB debt before you do your tax returns. That is what I do utilizing the appropriate legal letters. I demand to see from them the evidence that that they will never, of course, provide, stating that you actually owe your CERB money back like they say that you do. I can't stand them for that. That's just, it's all absolute lies. It's absolute lies. So please solve your CERB debt first. I can help you with that. If you rent out your place, first 10 years, primary residence. If you sell at year 15, how's it taxed? If you keep your mouth closed, if you don't say a word to the CRA, there's no tax on your house. Did you know that? Everybody gets screwed on capital gains taxes when you shoot your mouth off and tell the CRA what you have. It's none of their business. Let me give you an example of how silly people can be. And I'm not insulting my audience here. I'm educating you. All right? If I made a phone call, look, this to the ladies watching the show, I make a phone call. Hello, ma'am. My name's KevinJJohnston. I work with the Canadian National Underwear Institute, and I need to know right now if you're wearing a silk bra or a cotton bra. Is it a sports bra or lace? I also need to know if you're currently wearing full backs or a thong, possibly G-string. What would you tell me? You'd probably tell me to F off right in the spot, wouldn't you? How dare you? That's personal information. But you'll tell them about your house. You'll tell them about your crypto. You'll tell them about the collector car you bought. You'll tell them about the gold and silver bars that you bought last week. You'll tell them about your inheritance money. You'll tell them about your tips at the restaurant. You'll tell them about the money you made at the garage sale. Why would you tell the CRA about stuff that matters, but scream at someone who asks a question about underwear that doesn't matter? We have to get our priorities back, everybody. The CRA has no business knowing anything about you because every line on that tax return is voluntary information. Basing the GST on the original price of your, okay, that's for earlier. Oh, okay. So Rachel, that one there is a simple one. If the CRA says that you accusing you of trying to flip a house and they're demanding GST from you, I get rid of that with the appropriate legal letter. I got to send them 4 different legal letters. It's $500 for all those letters to get sent in, and it's over. So if you want that done, let me know, because that's actually not a difficult one. I want to place all my assets into an irrevocable trust. Well, you should. You absolutely should. All your money and your houses and your cars and your action figures, everything should be in numbered corporations. The structure is down here. 3 numbered corporations: house, money, cars. Umbrella corporation right here that owns these 3. Trust that owns everything below it. That's what we do. We set that up for absolutely everybody. And that way you are completely protected from the CRA, and you're also protected from people that want to sue you. There you are. So keep that in mind. Complete and total protection. Why would you say it's good to invest in Panama? Where could we put money into real estate? All right, Panama is going to be on everyone's radar for the next 4 years because Trump is talking about taking back the canal. That's bluster, all right? He says China runs the canal. I live here. The canal is 800 meters that way. All right? I can walk to the Panama Canal in 8 minutes. That's all it takes. I see ships going through there all the time. The Chinese are not blocking the locks in any way. Between 40 and 48 ships a day are going through the canal. The big ships pay $1 million to go through the canal. Panama gets the money. The small ships pay $120,000 to go through the smaller locks. Panama gets the money. There are 4 cranes that lift shipping containers off of ships. 4 cranes that are owned by a Chinese company. Not China, but just a company. But China and this Chinese company don't own the land. Panama does. All right, so relax with that. But Panama is now on the map. Cruise ships are landing here every day. The hotels are full in Panama City right now because the ships are just nonstop coming in. They are now gentrifying all of the old town in the southwest side of the city. It's called Casco Viejo, completely gentrified. And the town next door to it's called El Chorrillo, which is what the Americans bombed looking for Noriega back in the 80s. And the whole thing is now going to be completely gentrified in the next 5 years. If you buy a condo in Santa Ana or El Chorrillo right now, it'll be worth 5 times its value in less than 5 years. Panama's infrastructure is just, they are building roads, they're building trains, they're building airports, they're building hotels, they're building everything here in Panama. And the weather's awesome. And the women are beautiful. Now, why not be here? It's a great place. Just checking your questions here, folks. J Maniac, you're asking me if someone seizes assets in stocks and crypto. Could I get a bit more on that, please? Teaching and learning. If you need help, get a hold of me on my website, KevinJJohnston.com. The CRA did put a lien on my house due to an assessment that was an outrageous amount. We have filed. Okay, so whiskey in a teacup, it may not be a lien. It's probably a writ. If I redo your taxes for between 10 and 15 years, I'll get rid of that nonsense. It'll go. It'll take me a couple of weeks, but I'll get it done. Rob says, are you hiring right now? Possibility. There's a possibility that I'll be looking to bring on one more tax expert right now. And in April, I'm going to be looking for a full-time social media guru to just answer all my questions of people online. So the person I'd be hiring for that needs to be really good at graphic design, really good at CorelDRAW, really good at Photoshop. They need to know how to use Premiere, Adobe After Effects, and these other special effects websites like videos and whatnot. So yes, that's all coming. CRA owes me $7,000. They want to do an audit. Okay, teaching and learning. They can't audit you for $7,000. That's just not enough money for them to audit you. What they want is for you to do a self-assessment, which means answer their questions on paper, which if I send off the appropriate letter on your behalf, which is the non-compliance statement to them, they have no choice but to go away. All right. So you get a hold of me if you want that to happen. Miri Canada says they blocked my HST over $400,000. What does that mean? I need clarification, please. Teaching and learning. If they're auditing you right now, you get a hold of me now on my website, and you've got to bring me on as your agent, and I'll get rid of that piece of dirt. We owe taxes for CRA and trustee can't help. Never go to a trustee. Trustee, they're not me. Trustees aren't me. I am not licensed by any governing body in Canada. That's why I can do everything that I do. There's no one out there that says you can't do that. And if they say it to me, guess what I do? I ignore them. So for trustees, the trustee hurts you. They work for the CRA and they'll snitch on you about everything. Watch my show from last week, last Tuesday. It's on freedomreport.ca. I had a gentleman come on. The trustees stole all of his money. They were supposed to help him. They lied and said they were lawyers. They weren't. They were trustees working for the CRA, stealing his money. He's a client of mine now. All right. If you, anybody that wants to book a meeting with me, my website is in my bio, myname.com, KevinJJohnston.com. I was audited after the meeting. I ended up doing contracting work for the auditor family for cash. I'm not sure what that means, but that's okay. I have a trust fund with TD. We can't get out of it. They told us to move to another. We have to pay $30K. Okay. So Angel, they're asking you to pay the taxes on that investment. What I would need to do at that point is I have to open up a sole proprietorship for you, which we will dissolve after I do your taxes. And then I can put down all the expenses that you incurred to make that money, and I can wipe out the entire tax bill. So they'll tax you, but you'll get it back next year. All of it, every penny. Teaching and learning. Okay, you say, dude, you went there and you never answered. Okay, so if you put in the subject, use the form on my website and just say TikTok tax help, I'll be able to spot that pretty damn fast. Ryan's asking, do you help people in Alberta? Well, technically, I'm still an Alberta resident. I still have something in Calgary and in Edmonton. And yes, I help people all over Canada. I've got clients in the Northwest Territories, Yukon, Iqaluit. I had a guy in Iqaluit contact me. The whole country. We do the whole country. Slim Boss says, I'm in Panama right now. Oh, it is the life, isn't it? Well, Slim Boss, I can take you to a great pancake place if you're in Panama City. I have imported about 12 gallons of maple syrup, real maple syrup. So I don't eat pancakes with table syrup anymore. I got the good stuff. How much is a house in Costa Rica? 5 times what it should be. 5 times what you'll pay in Panama. I left Costa Rica because it's so disgustingly overpriced. It's a third world country with first world prices, and you get zero value for your money. Remember I told you guys, hamburgers, $27 US. My grocery bill is $30 a week in Panama. $30 a week. That's it. There's a restaurant right around the corner from me. I can have a hamburger and I can have yuca fries for $3. And I'm full. I'm stuffed beyond reproach by the time it's all said and done. All right. I'm like some of the restaurants I go to, I'm not even paying $6 for a meal. It's not even $6. Yeah, Panama's where it's at, guys. Buy in now before everyone figures it out. It's kind of a hidden gem right now. If you change yourself from a director to only a shareholder, do you lose ownership of the corp? No, if you write the corporate bylaws properly and you write the shareholders agreement properly. All you got to do is just write down what you want the corporation to do and reflect and what the inner workings are. And you can get that sworn in with one of my paralegals, and that's it. No, the director is the figurehead and pretty much the only person that the CRA knows how to contact. So being the director is stupid. Being the owner is better. It's the best, actually. Rob, yes, I can help with liens against homes in BC. Yes. Is it true there's no laws stating we have to pay tax? There's no law in Canada that says you have to pay tax. There is a statement in the Excise Tax Act that says it's mandatory to fill out a tax return. But remember at the beginning of the show, I said in Canada, because that's the only time mandatory shows up in the entire act is you have to do a tax return, but you don't put numbers on it. Name, social insurance number, signature, send it in. Congratulations, you did a tax return. There's no numbers on it. That's all. Mike, do I have a promo code? Not anymore. No, we had one last year. But Mike, sign up now because I'm booked to the last week of February. So get in there now, please. So Malkit says corporate closed and RRF still pending. What happened if I don't pay? Personal bankruptcy done. I need more clarification before I can answer that. If okay. Wealthy peasant, has anyone told you that you are a hero today? Yes, that's been told to me, but please don't call me that. I'm not. I'm a guy that knows his stuff, and I'm a guy that does his job. Remember what I said? Heroes are people that risk their lives for no reason to help others. My life is not in danger. Crushing the CRA. By the way, I took $42 million away from the CRA last year. Very proud of that. I'm targeting $100 million this year. Let's take everything from them. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. Darren asks, I'm a sole proprietor. Do I think you should go incorporated? Yes. Today. Yes. Yes, you should. Is Panama at the risk of being overrun? No. There's only 5 million people here. That's it, like 5.1. And half of them live in Panama City. You'll notice that take the country. There are map websites where you can move countries around to compare sizes. Grab Panama and lay it over top of the province of Ontario, and you'll see that it goes from Detroit all the way to Montreal. So it's a big area. It is a big area, and it's mostly empty because it's a hidden gem. People like Panama has got incredible infrastructure, better subways than Toronto. 35 cents to ride the subway train down here, but Panama doesn't advertise what they have. I'm going to change that. I mean, I got a big mouth, as you can tell. So I will be working with the Panamanians to start advertising the hell out of their country, because I love it here. It like within a week, Panama City just felt like home to me. And it's a beautiful place. I plan to convert a significant amount of crypto into cash this year. Don't tell anyone. That's your little secret. Is this a recording? No, wealthy peasant. I am live. I'm quite live right now. It's right now currently 10:42 p.m. on January 28th, Eastern Time. Miss G, I have 2 debt of the car saying if I don't pay, they'll freeze your pay. I have, okay, so I think, 2 departments of the CRA saying that if you don't pay, they'll freeze your pay. Miss G, I do a lot of work for single moms. And what we do with single mothers is, so long as you're not lying to me about being a single mother, which some have, and whatever. I don't get angry about it. We do discounts for single mothers and for veterans and for senior citizens. So I can do your taxes for the last 10 years and get rid of the entire debt. Can't they take you to jail? No. The CRA doesn't charge people. No. You cannot do prison time in Canada for owing money. They got rid of debtor's prison back in the 1800s. There's no such thing. No. It doesn't matter what the CRA reps say. If they say that to you, call the cops. You call the cops and say, this guy is threatening me with jail time. That's section 423 of the criminal code. Intimidation. That's a 5-year penalty. Make them pay. Can you book an afternoon call? Yeah, yes. Mondays are my late days. And typically Thursdays, we also have mid to late afternoon bookings. So yes, we can do that. Out of curiosity, are you a tax lawyer or an accountant? I am neither. I'm a tax strategist that knows more about accounting than just about any accountant you'll ever meet in the world. And I have been studying tax law for 40 years, criminal law for 20, and corporate law for 20. I am better than most lawyers. I refuse to be licensed by anybody in Canada at all. I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be an accountant. I don't want to answer to any governing body in Canada, because governing bodies in Canada are all run by left-wing Karen losers, and losers do not get to tell me what to do, period. And besides, I couldn't do what I'm doing now if I was licensed, because the governing body might say, hey, you got to stop calling CRA people at home. They don't like it, and we might pull your license. Yeah, right. All the governing bodies do is get in the way of success. Nope, not for me. How to get my mother off my corporate shares? have a vote and remove her, I guess. I mean, I don't know anything about your story. What's Panama's stance on immigration? Gringos, North American born people, European born people, Australians, Russians, like anyone. If you got money, come in. Welcome. You can get a pensionado visa down here in about 6 weeks. Doesn't take long. They love it. But what do the Panamanians feel about illegal immigration? They are hiring more national police to stop that nonsense from happening, period. I did my first process serving today. What should I know? Michael, I need more details. What was the document for? What about Quebec? Yeah, I can do Quebec, but Quebec's got weird rules. So typically when I do taxes for a Quebecois, I get them back 100% of their federal tax and about 50% of the provincial tax. The Quebecois government, they don't like to part with the money, and they give you a difficult time, eh? And sometimes what they do is they make the phone call and they threaten me, but they do it in broken English and I don't understand. So I tell them I don't understand, and they say, I call you later. They never do. They keep the money, Quebec is a weird place, see? Okay. Oh, there's a good question. Bruno asks me, how much do you charge to avoid the 66%? You get a hold of me. I mean, if it's just personal tax and it's simple personal tax, it's only $350 per year. So get a hold of me. Real easy. Do you advise of setting up a corporation in Yukon? No, there's no advantage to that because Yukon doesn't have provincial tax. It's not a province. Yukon is pretty much owned by Ottawa. If you're going to open up a corporation and you want to play shenanigans, do it in Ontario because you can charge 13% on top of every bill that you write. You can keep the money if you want. And Ontario is a disorganized, sloppy place. They'll never figure out what you're doing. So don't register corporations in the territories. That's dumb. Do it in Ontario. Is there a way not to pay HST or GST? Yeah. Open up a brand new corporation and never do a GST return. And they don't know you have a number. There you go. So long as you don't talk, just stop talking to the CRA and they'll never know. Can you help with payroll arrears and penalties? $9,900 in fees? Is it $9,900, Owl, or is it $99,000? Yes, I can. And there are some tricks of the trade that you need to know. Yes, I can. How is the beach, Bruno asks. Bruno, I got to Panama in April. I've been at this machine every day serving clients probably between, I'd say, 8 and 14 hours every day. I took 2 weeks off at Christmas, and I've been to the beach 3 times in Panama. I don't have time for fun. I am doing tax work for everybody here, and I'm helping Canadians get their money here into Panama. I'm helping Canadians become residents here, and I'm helping the Panamanian lawyers and banks that I work with market themselves to get more customers. I'm a busy guy. Occasionally, I get down to the go-kart track in town and I do some racing, Yeah, actually, if you look at my knuckle, you see, look at my knuckle here. See how you can't see the bulge of my knuckle? I went go-kart racing 2 nights ago and it was really intense. There's this young kid, like 21 years old. And the only reason he was able to, keep ahead of me in the go-karts, not because of his skill, but because I outweigh him by about 60 pounds. And we kept crashing into each other because the two of us wanted to win. And when we both crashed, my hand went like that and knocked his helmet. I actually broke my knuckle. I broke my knuckle. It's sore right now. So I do intense things just to clear my head. I don't have time for fun, guys. I really don't. How much can a Canadian invest in a small or medium amount into Panama? Well, I mean, you could open up a bank account down here. They'll start you off at 4% right off the hop. If you want to buy a property here, there's a place called Megapolis. It's huge. This building is huge. It is massive. And in it, it's a combination of hotel and condo. And there are condos for sale for $99,000 in this building. It's a building that would be very cool to live in because it's got a rooftop. I think it's about maybe 900 feet tall, this thing. It's got a rooftop deck with glass walls, so you can just look right down. It's got a pool on the 15th floor, which is huge. Nice bar area. There's always dancing going on there. There's nightclubs there. It's a cool place. There's cheap investments you can put forth down here. Do you help clients open up and set up their corporations? All the time, every week? Absolutely. How much for a simple place in Panama? Well, 10 acres of land. If you're going to buy land, you didn't hear from me, but you do it on the north side of the country. The Caribbean side is completely untapped. It's empty. It really is. Panama, everyone thinks it's north and south like this. No, the country's like that. It's sideways. It's east and west. So Panama City is on the south, and Colón, which is the other end of the canal, is on the north. And the north side is the Caribbean side, where the difference in height of the tide is it's only 3 feet between high and low tide. Whereas on the south side of the country, it's 12 to 15 feet. If you want to invest in something, buy land there. I was looking at beach land for 10, 15 grand. I'm just going to go up there next month, and I'm going to start buying everything up. Everything. Just get the deeds, buy it up, hold on to it, figure out what I want to do. Having my own private beach would be fantastic. I'm an Italy fan. Any breaks living there? Not sure what that means. I am running a business in Toronto, and I have collected HST, GST of about 100K. Can I not pay those? Do you want to pay it? There's a way to not pay it, but you better talk to me first, okay? Get a hold of me. If I send it in blank, they have the T4s. They'll do it themselves and send the bill. Yes, Kelly. And then what you do is you object to it, and you get yourself an appeal date 2 years later, and you don't owe tax money so long as amounts are in dispute. And then what we can do is add a bunch of expenses to your life and wipe out the amount of the T4. That's all. Can I change from director to owner and bypass my indemnity for the business? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, Owl. You can change director 50 times a day if you wanted to. Just have to have your corporate keys, which is your user ID and password, to log into the website and change whatever you want. Absolutely. Okay. Do I do corporate taxes? Absolutely, Samos. I love corporate taxes. How much is an acreage in Panama? Well, depends on who's buying. If you're buying as a gringo, it's expensive. If you have a local go and negotiate on your behalf, it's about 1/3 the price, maybe less. Oh yeah. They're in the land game, the Panamanians are getting smart. Okay. So there's gringo pricing for some things, and there's local pricing for some things. So I'm not going to discuss my dating life down here, but I will say that the ladies, they defend their man down here. And when someone says gringo pricing, they bark up, no, Panamanian pricing. All in Espanol, of course, but yeah, it's cool. So you need to have a Spanish-speaking Panamanian with you when you're going out negotiating. So that way you get the Panamanian price and not the gringo price. Who are the best people to see to get incorporated? Right here. Me. Because when we do your incorporation, you get the half-an-hour lesson on how to never pay tax again. There you go. How about farmers? Bruce, I love working with farmers. I love it because farmers, there's a lot of companies out there that prey on farmers, a lot of accounting companies. One of them is called Farm Business Consulting. This company is run by absolute trash. They're trash. They're not even an accounting company. What they do is they sell franchises. So could you imagine if you're an accountant and you want to do farms in West Toronto, like Kitchener-Waterloo area? You go to FBC and you buy a franchise, then FBC says you can go and do taxes for farmers in that area. And they're really, really awful accountants. Like most of them are just bookkeepers. So for farmers, I want to make sure that farmers continue to exist to feed cities. Farmers feed cities. So I make sure I get farmers 100% of their money back every single time. Okay, if you're a realtor starting out, never go proprietor. Always go corporation. I'm down to my last. We got 5 minutes to go here. So I'm going to rifle through your questions now. Alrighty. Do you get hurricanes and tornadoes in Panama? No. If one wanted to move and work in Panama, what's the process? Get a hold of me. I'll put you in touch with my lawyer, Pedro. Pedro is going to get you everything you need. Pensionado visa, you're in for life. 6 weeks, done. Yes, I can do all your taxes. When the government orders a demand owing tax, how can I stop it? Get a hold of me and I'll get rid of all your debts. That's what I do for a living. I know tax law inside and out. Okay. Owl House, 9,900 in penalties. Yeah, give me a call. We'll get that one fixed up. Do you need to file a corporate tax return annually? If you register a brand new corporation, you should never file one, ever. It's none of their business what you do. Keep the money. It's yours. It's yours. Hello, Mr. Hader. Andrea Maraza, why are you not answering my question? I didn't see it. Just want to ask it again. You got a couple minutes left. Can you buy something for less than 100 grand here in Panama? Absolutely. But keep in mind, everything down here is US dollars. So do your conversions on Canadian money. Canadian dollar sucks right now. Be careful. Okay. We live in Panama now and thinking about selling everything, but concerned about tax implication. If I'm your tax guy, there's no tax implication whatsoever. All right. Is it finding a job in Panama? I got to do a whole show on that. I can't answer that one in my last minute. Sorry. I just don't have time for that. Can you get a mortgage in Panama? Yes, if you're prepared to put 50% down, we can get you those. Where's the best place to live in Europe to lower taxes? Not Monaco. Well, I would go places like Poland and Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, places like that are not allowing all the mass immigration to happen. Those places are just prosperous beyond reproach right now. Okay. Everyone can get a hold of me on my personal website, KevinJJohnston.com. We are landscapers. We get raked. If I'm your tax guy, you'll never pay tax again as a landscaper. That's what I do. The director of a corp can be made up. Explain how this is legal. Because you legally are allowed to have an alias in Canada. I have something like 500 aliases. There you go. And you don't have to tell anybody what your alias is. You can, my name is John Smith. You can identify as John Smith. I mean, for when I was a teenager, up until my 20s, I was DJ Jackal for, I don't know, that's the only name I gave people. I signed my name as DJ Jackal because I was the DJ. You can have an alias. You don't have to tell anyone anything. It's completely legal. Okay, so Andrew, you got yourself a consultation. Beautiful. Christine is my office manager. She'll get a hold of you and book you a time. Looking forward to it. Do you have a contract for realtors? Sorry, do you have a contact for a realtor? Oh, you mean down here? Yes, two very good ones. But I'm also acting as an agent directly for 3 different properties down here. So if it's condo life you're looking for, I can set you up. If it's houses or farms, I got to get you in touch with one of the real estate agents down here. All right, everyone, that's it. We are out of time. I want to say thank you. This has been a great night. TikTok has just lit up tonight. And thank you to everybody on Rumble there for hitting the thumbs up. We certainly do appreciate that. And for those who are concerned about universal basic income in Canada, I'm going to have to cover that one in a future episode. Whew. Listen, everyone, I want to say thank you. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Income Tax Show. It's actually called the Tax and Money Show, which is absolutely every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll catch me on TikTok at Real Kevin J. Johnston. You'll catch me on DLive at Kevin J. Johnston. You'll catch me at Rumble, on Rumble, Kevin J. Johnston. I mean, my name. There you go. Type it all in. Go to my website, KevinJJohnston.com, where you can book yourselves a consultation and get all your tax money back. Remember, I've hated the CRA since I was 13 years of age when they stole money from my folks. Hire my hate. Hate's a powerful motivator, and I hate the CRA, and I love to hurt them, and I love to take back what's ours. Have yourselves a great night. I love you all. Bye-bye.